In 2015, the joke, "I never thought the leopards would eat my face," sobs woman who voted for the Leopards Eating Faces party, became a popular way to discuss the geopolitical issues, especially within far-right and conservative groups. And while this is usually used to discuss politicians taking advantage of their voter base, I think nowadays it's very interesting that we are currently seeing that the leopards are now cannibalizing each other and eating their own faces. The cracks and weak points in the MAGA movement were always very apparent to everyone outside of the MAGA movement. The alliances between these far-right groups were always very fragile and tenuous, and the only thing holding it all together is the linchpin that is sucking up to Donald Trump. In a lot of ways, it reminds me of the Sith Empire and Star Wars The Old Republic. You know that MMORPG that was really popular a long time ago? If you're unfamiliar, the whole concept was the only way to move up in the world of a Sith was to gain more power and overthrow the guy above you. Which, to be honest, is what we're seeing right now, except instead of fun little lightsabers and force magic, we're just seeing people get butthurt and crashing out on Twitter for things that the rest of us have already experienced. At the epicenter of all of this, we see that Laura Loomer is losing public support and influence, therefore she's going after fucking everyone. And in addition to that, Elon Musk is crashing out because he's also losing support from all of the people he was kissing the asses of. Nick Fuentes is in the mix somehow because he's mad that Elon is banning a bunch of his fucking incel friends. That being said, Nick Fuentes isn't allied with Laura Loomer because Laura Loomer's the two things he hates: Jewish and a woman. Somewhere along the way, Milo Yiannopoulos is involved because Laura Loomer hates gay people, I guess. Marjorie Taylor Greene hates Laura Loomer, supposedly because Laura Loomer's racist, but we all know it's because Marjorie Taylor Greene hates Jewish people. And at the head of a snake, I'm sure Donald Trump is loving this because all of these distractions are taking away from the fact that all of his promised policies for when he gets into office are already having economic repercussions currently. We have so much to cover today, so without further ado, my name's Undead, and let's just jump right into the news.
Somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me. I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed. She was looking kind of dumb with her finger and a thumb in the shape of an L on her forehead. Hey now, hey now. She's stupid, self-assured, no, it's stupid.
Poster boy for the MAGA movement, Elon Musk, is in some pretty hot water right now. Now, this isn't the first time the Republican Party has tried to distance themselves from Elon Musk, but it's interesting seeing as Elon is the one who basically paid for Trump's presidency. It's no secret that Donald Trump is very uncomfortable with people making jokes saying that Elon Musk is president and Donald Trump is the first lady or is the assistant vice president. But this current wave of backlash that Elon is facing is actually from online internet influencers within the MAGA conservative pundit space. It is well documented that Elon Musk hires immigrants to work in his Tesla factories because he can overwork and underpay his employees and they'll put up with it because it's better than where they were coming from in terms of job opportunity, which is obviously antithetical to the hate mob that he's been platforming and profiting off of this entire time. This all came to a head when Elon Musk publicly started supporting making HB1 immigration easier. Now, obviously, he's not promoting this out of any virtuous values or anything like that. He's obviously using his influence and power to try to make it easier for him to profit from cheap, overworked labor that he can easily abuse. In the wake of the current class consciousness, which seems to be bipartisan at this point, a lot of conservatives, including some very notable influencers like Nick Fuentes and Laura Loomer, are quite pissed off with the revelation that Elon Musk is giving away skilled labor jobs to people trying to immigrate in here. Now, for those unaware, this isn't the first time Republicans have really disliked the way Elon Musk runs his companies. You see, for the longest time, his companies like Tesla were actually getting government subsidies for working towards electric vehicles. In fact, it could be argued that the only reason why Elon is at the level of success he's at today is due to Democrat support. So what does this have to do with the current drama? Well, you see, Elon Musk will grift as whatever he needs to grift as to support his own needs, but at the end of the day, he's only giving a shit about his own needs. You see, he'll moonlight as an ecologically conscious Democrat who cares about saving the earth for as long as that suits him so that his company can corner the market on electric vehicles. He'll say that he supports free speech, but then he'll only platform certain ideological worldviews that fit within his purview and ban any criticism on a platform that completely tanked because of his involvement. And while at first it was just the progressives and the leftists getting silenced on Twitter, so all the right-wing grifters were praising Elon Musk about it, but what people on the right are finding out now is now that they don't support Elon Musk and think he's a cool guy and emphatically love him, they're getting treated the same exact way as progressive people were treated on Twitter before everyone moved to Blue Sky. Leaving people like Laura Loomer, Nick Fuentes, the conservative group, and a bunch of these other ridiculous people shock Pikachu faced as the leopards are doing what leopards fucking do. You have people outcrying that their free speech is being infringed upon while their check marks get taken away and their monetization gets shut down. And yet, where were you, sweaty, months ago when this shit was happening to people who disagree with you? Oh, it was fine then because they don't share your political opinions. But now that it's affecting you, we're supposed to give a shit? Really? Okay. What did you expect to happen? Did you think when they were done with us, they would just leave you alone? Just because you're all MAGA idiots doesn't mean you guys are a monolithic group. And the fact that the only way to move up and ahead in the MAGA political movement is to undermine the people who are supposed to be your allies when it comes to political discourse just means that when one of these grifters starts to lose popularity and attention, they'll go after everyone in their own group. For example, Laura Loomer is losing a lot of influence within Trump's infosphere, so she's just crashing out. And not just against Elon Musk. Many people know Laura Loomer from her fight on Twitter with Marjorie Taylor Greene very recently, and from the fact that she has dangerously close access to influencing Donald Trump's opinions. Or rather, she did until someone on Trump's team who actually has a brain somehow convinced Trump to distance himself from her. However, if you're as terminally online as I am and have been in the YouTube sphere for as long as I have, you've probably heard Laura Loomer spoken in certain breadtuber and leftist circles talking about weird conservative grifters for quite a while now. And while I've definitely been aware of Laura Loomer's existence for quite some time, I honestly have to say, up until this year, I didn't know a single fucking thing about her. In fact, I only remembered she existed a few days ago when this video surfaced of her just absolutely acting like a crazy person. I'm gonna play a snippet of it now of what I think is the most hilarious part of the entire exchange, but let me know in the comments down below if you want me to cover the whole fight.
But I'll try to sit here and tarnish my reputation, okay? Because you're a fucking drug addict, okay? You are a fucking loser.
Oh my god, it is so unhinged and downright awkward. It's hard to understand the dialogue at the beginning of the fight, but from what I gather, Laura Loomer's mad that Milo Yiannopoulos is gay and she's accusing him of being a drug addict. Which, even if he is a gay drug addict, which I don't think he's a drug addict because I haven't found any evidence to support that he is one, what does any of that have to do with you? She's acting like such a narc. Not for nothing, but the person she worships, Donald Trump, had one of the highest levels of prescription drug abuse in his administration. So what is she complaining about? There's nothing really substantive here, and I was honestly just gonna forget about it until literally last night at midnight. She started throwing her shit like some kind of wild animal over the fact that she was being canceled by Elon fucking Musk. She posts constantly to Twitter, so I'm not going to read all of it, but this one in particular kind of highlights just how distraught she is. And in a rare turn of events, I low-key agree with Elon on this decision. Laura Loomer's posts should be marked as spam. And it's not just Laura Loomer here losing her verification checkmark. We're seeing a wave of people losing monetization on Twitter, including someone who is diametrically opposed to Laura Loomer in every aspect except for political ideology.
Stop saying dumbass things! You're not even making sense!
So Nick Fuentes has a lot going on lately. I mean, where to even begin? First, he gets doxxed. Then he assaults a lady who knocks on his door with a can of pepper spray because he's a pussy. Then he gets arrested and has criminal charges filed on him for assaulting that lady. And then a guy with a crossbow tries to take him out like an illager raid in Minecraft. Most people know him as the guy who said, "Your body, my choice forever." But that's barely scraping the tip of the iceberg of just how fucking weird this guy is. He's the self-proclaimed king of incels. He says he wants to date 16-year-old girls. He says that the Holocaust never happened. And he's a proud Nazi. Side note, but it seems like the people who complain the most about transgender people happen to be the biggest fucking pedophiles. Look at Matt Gaetz, for example, Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump, and even, as we're speaking about now, Nick Fuentes. Really makes you think of what Graham Linehan probably has to hide. Despite nearly being murdered by a crossbow, Nick Fuentes hasn't skipped a beat to complain about the H-1B immigration visa and how Elon Musk is making immigrants a protected class and bitching about Indian people moving in. And all the usual talking points that you could just assume that these types of people always get upset about. Two of his brand accounts, Conservative OG and Project Groyper, which is his weird little circle jerk, have both been unverified on Twitter, following all three of those accounts publicly showing disagreement with Elon Musk putting so much emphasis on the H-1B immigration visa. Side note, I might accidentally say HB1 when I mean H1B. Sorry for that. The biggest issue that a lot of these conservatives are having is the fact that Elon Musk called them all retarded. A few of them are also just mad that Elon Musk isn't taking the Great Replacement theory seriously, which is kind of funny. Because while Elon Musk is a Nazi, I guess he's not enough of a Nazi to compromise his bottom line in Tesla stocks. Breaking news I found out just now while recording this. The Project Groyper Twitter page has been suspended permanently. In addition to that, many of the accounts associated with Project Groyper, which again is Nick Fuentes' weird little incel circle jerk, have all been suspended or have had their premium features taken away. On one hand, that's really funny. On the other hand, I was going to try to pull info from that page, but now I can't because the page is down, so I guess all I can say is it's hilarious to see this level of pettiness and childishness from someone who is called the world's richest man. At the end of the day, though, I can't verify whether or not these accounts were taken down to some other policy violation. However, the timing is very coincidental.
I looked her up and down, and I said, "Girl, you look fine." Then she pulled out a penis, twice the size of mine.
So the title of this video is a little bit of a misnomer because there's one person who is bending over backwards to defend Elon. You all know Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? My personal fan casting for Beta Ray Bill in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Despite her spitfiring talking about how we need to do mass deportations, she is 100% on Elon Musk's side for making the H-1B visa far more easily accessible to foreign workers. And for many of you, that might be a very confusing stance for her to take, but it's quite obvious when you read the tweet she put out. A lot of people don't realize that in addition to being the US's dumbest representative ever, when she's not modeling for Gorilla Glue advertisements, she's actually running a pretty successful construction company. See, she wants to put on this facade of being a blue-collar worker, pull yourself up by the bootstraps type, but she's actually an elite who got most of her wealth by cucking her husband with CrossFit trainers. And it shows in her tweet defending Elon Musk's stance on the H-1B visas, because she flat out admits that cheap labor from people immigrating in is necessary for these billionaires to increase their own profits and gains. Now, of course, she then tries to go on and say, well, there's not enough workers in America, there's not enough skilled tradesmen in America, which is why we have to use the H-1B visa. And she tries to blame it on the current generation trying to become YouTubers or social media influencers. And I'm going to stop you right there, MTG. I'm a certified welder. I know the work environments right now. It's not that there's an issue with laborers in America and a decline of skilled tradesmen in the US. The issue is most companies do not want to pay a living wage. The number one highest grossing crime in the United States right now is corporate elites and CEOs committing wage theft against their own employees. Also, I'm just gonna say it, the reason I'm not a welder right now is because the industry is dominated by bigoted assholes who just straight up hate trans people. And alienating that worker base is directly the fault of people like you, Marge. There is not a worker shortage in the United States. There is not a shortage of skilled laborers in the United States. It's not the fault of colleges or video games or YouTube or any of the other myriad of things that you blamed. What there is a lack of is a responsibility and loyalty that companies used to have to their employees that does not exist in this country. I guarantee you the doors would start flooding with applicants if you actually paid people what it cost to survive in today's economy that you guys fucked up. You can't just destroy the education system and then wonder why the education system is broken. But the reality is, none of what I'm saying actually even matters, because Marjorie Taylor Greene doesn't want to fix the US education system because it's already cheaper to hire foreigners. And that's why someone who claims to be so anti-immigration is all in favor of it when it means that the people that work under her are able to be overworked and underpaid. In a lot of ways, Marjorie Taylor Greene is just a female prototype of modern-day Elon Musk. She's a grifter who doesn't believe in any of the things she says she believes in and will moonlight as any kind of group she needs to in order to gain power. She doesn't give a shit about people like you or me or her own voter base. All she cares about is making it easier for her to take advantage of the system. So what, if anything, can we extrapolate from the events going on right now? MAGA has become somewhat of a failing movement for the time being. And whether you want to blame it on the lack of transparency from the Republicans, or you want to blame it on the fact that the MAGA movement is entirely built around othering and dividing people, the truth of the matter is, the only thing that happened is the mask finally slipped. You see, they called Ronald Reagan the great communicator, not because he was very well spoken. I mean, he was, but they called him that because billionaire corporations and CEOs were able to use Reagan to push ideologies that made blue-collar workers vote against their own best interest and boost the interest of the corporate elites and billionaires in this country. Trickle economics was the greatest lie that has ever been told by the conservatives. And now look at our incoming president-elect's administration. It is full of nothing but Nepo babies. This is a grift that's been going on for so long, I wasn't even alive when it started. And it's all coming to a head because you can only abuse the backbone of the American economy, the workers, until they finally rise up and eat the fucking rich. And quite frankly, I don't exactly know what the solution is, but this current growing wave of class consciousness is at least a step in the right direction. But with all that being said, my name's Undead, and that's all I got.